While his presidential rivals are busy hopscotching from battleground state to battleground state, Fred Thompson's run for the White House is moving at a slower pace. So far, the Republican schedule for this week does not include campaign appearances in any early primary states. And the former Law and Order star canceled an event in New Hampshire over the weekend. Let's get some analysis of what's going on from Fred Thompson's campaign spokeswoman, Karen Hanretty. She's here in the Situation Room. Karen, first of all, is all that true, as I just said?
Well, that's not quite how I would frame it up, but...
Did he cancel appearances in New Hampshire this weekend?
He was scheduled to be in New Hampshire last Friday. We did make a decision not to have him go out to New Hampshire. Clearly, he will be in New Hampshire in the future. He's going to be in Florida, which is a really key state for this campaign, starting Saturday. Sunday, he's got a big debate down there with Republicans, and he'll be out campaigning Monday and Tuesday in Florida. He's going to be in other primary states next week as well.
What about this week? As these other candidates, they're all running around Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina.
They're definitely running around.
Right.
There's no doubt about that.
Why isn't he showing up in those early states?
Well, look, I think Fred Thompson, first of all, I wouldn't use what Mitt Romney and Rudy Giuliani are doing as any necessary benchmark. Here are two candidates who are trying to prove themselves as conservatives, clearly not conservatives. In fact, you had on earlier in your program today a statement that excerpts from a statement that Fred Thompson will be making to the New York Conservative Party this evening in Rudy Giuliani's own backyard about the fact that this is no time for philosophical flexibility. We don't need candidates who are trying to run like Democrats.
So he's saying he's the real Republican, he's the real conservative.
Not only is Fred Thompson saying he's the real conservative, I think voters out there, if you look at
but is he saying that Giuliani and Romney are phonies?
Well, look, let's look at the record. Fred Thompson quarterbacked the nomination of John Roberts to the U.S. Supreme Court. That's a solid conservative constructionist judge to the Supreme Court. Fred Thompson was called by President Bush to make that happen. Who did Rudy Giuliani appoint? He appointed liberal Democrats when he was mayor. Who did Mitt Romney appoint? Liberal Democrats when he was governor of Massachusetts. There's a clear distinction, and it's not just Fred Thompson saying, look, I'm the clear conservative. It's voters.
So starting tonight, we're going to hear a more assertive, more aggressive Fred Thompson go out against these Republican presidential candidates?
In Rudy's own backyard.
Now, how's his health? That's what, because when I heard he canceled some appearances, I wondered, the man has had cancer. He seems to be robust, seems to be in good shape, but is he okay?
Yes, Fred Thompson is a very, very robust man. These had everything to do with some strategic decisions to stay here on the campaign. We did some fundraising in Tennessee and Texas last week. You know, if you're not raising money, the media is going to say, well, where's the money? And when we are out there raising money and holding some private events, everyone says, well, how come you're not out in public?
So instead of going to New Hampshire over the weekend and hopscotching these early primary states this week, what is he going to be doing, or what did he do over the weekend to justify, you know, canceling that kind of an appearance?
Well, look, he's in New York today. He's holding fundraisers in New York today. He's talking to the New York Conservative Club tonight. He will be talking to the Republican Jewish Coalition tomorrow. That will be a very strong speech.
In New York as well?
No, it's here in D.C. Yes, in D.C. a very important speech. And we've got two major speeches coming up. Club for Growth. Fred Thompson has the best record with Club for Growth, a very important fiscally conservative organization, much stronger records than Rudy and Mitt, to be sure. And then the Values Voters Summit is a big deal on Friday and Saturday. He will be here for that. You know, we've seen people like Gary Bauer come out with some, not an endorsement, but some very strong conservative, socially conservative support for Fred Thompson. There are a lot of major things that are stacking up this week. He's in Florida, South Carolina next week, and he's running first in South Carolina, strong second in Iowa. He's running very strong in these early primary states, despite the tens of millions of dollars his opponents are spending.
Karen Hanretty, you got a tough job. Thanks for coming in.
It's a good job.
And there is a strategy behind Senator Thompson's decisions. That's what you're saying.
Indeed.
We'll watch it unfold with you. Thanks,
Wolf.